Thanks again for joining me for Mindful Yoga this week. So I just wanted to mention that we have a lot of thoughts always going through. First thing in the morning we wake up and thoughts are going, and then we latch onto one and we go with it sometimes, and then just goes through the rest of the day. But really the only way to slow down those thoughts, which we really want to try to do, is to access that space between the thoughts, the space between the words, and the space between the breaths. There's a very unique stillness at the top of the inhalation and the bottom of the exhalation, so we're going to explore that a little bit today. But when we access that space of stillness, we find a little more peace, a little more calm, and we're not coming into reactive mode when we come across some difficulties in our lives. So that's what we want to practice today, is just finding that stillness in between those thoughts so we can really be mindful in our practice and in our day beyond the practice. So get nice and comfortable in your seat. I like to bring back the flesh a little bit from the buttocks, ground the sits bones. However you need to be comfortable so you can have a tall spine, please make any adjustments. Roll the shoulders slightly back and down, let the arms be heavy, relaxed on your thighs, palms up or down. And just let your eyes close, entering the internal dimension of ourselves. Letting yourself settle down. Relaxing more and more. The more we relax, the more we can access that space of stillness. Again, withdrawing our attention from the external and giving our minds something else to focus on. First, sensations in the body, any areas of discomfort or holding. And just begin to let those go. Noticing if you can grow your spine a little bit taller. So the more you feel grounded and heavy in your base, the more you can extend upwards without great amount of effort, but just feeling that lightness. And as you feel more relaxed, then begin to follow your breathing. And just noticing your breathing, how you naturally take in the breaths, where the body fills up, and the letting go of the out-breath. And feeling the breath slowly deepen. Be sure your belly is soft, enabling the belly to expand as you inhale. And releasing each breath fully. Adding your Ujjayi breath to the three-part breath, the Dirga Pranayama breath. Contracting your throat just slightly, warming the breath, slowing the breath even more, and helping to calm our nervous system even more. And notice the effect of just breathing deeply. And now we'll take a deep breath in and hold that breath in. Holding momentarily, just focusing at the third eye, the point between the brow. And when you need to exhale, just let it go and breathe naturally. And we'll do that again. Take a deep breath in, belly to the top. Hold that breath and notice the stillness. Be with that stillness. And again, when prompted, release the breath. Breathe naturally. And as you relax more and more, the breath elongates more and more. And you might notice there's a slight pause at the top of the breath and the bottom of the breath. If it feels comfortable, hold that breath a little bit longer as you inhale and hold the breath out a little bit longer on the exhalation. Not creating any strain. If it doesn't feel right, just continue to breathe naturally and try again. You may notice a very unique stillness in that slight hold of breath. When the breath stops, the mind stops. We'll bring the hands together in front of the heart to chant one sound of Om together. So again, sitting tall. Let's inhale deeply. Exhale fully. And again, taking a deep breath. Lowering your hands back down. Eyes open or closed. We're going to come down onto our backs. So take your time, be mindful. And then just come to a comfortable position on your back with your knees bent, arms comfortably out to the sides, and widen the feet as wide as your mat. Just let the knees fall in together. And if that doesn't feel right, find another position that feels good. Just letting yourself settle in. Again, noticing the stillness at the top and bottom of the breath. And let your exhalations be long and empty out completely. And notice how the next in-breath comes so much more easily. Just flows in. So just following the natural expansion of the in-breath and the emptying and calming and relaxation on the exhalation. And then activating the deep core. On your next exhalation, draw the navel back into the spine and draw the pelvic floor up. And then let's lengthen out our legs on the mat, nice and long, and reach the arms up overhead. And get a good full body stretch, reaching through the toes, reaching through the fingers. Keep the breath steady. And then we're simply going to relax. Keep the arms and legs extended, but walk the arms over to the right and the feet over to the right side of your mat, maybe taking a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And if it feels right, maybe crossing the left ankle over the right, but if that's too much of a stretch, just keep the foot next to the other foot. And just again, breathing deeply, feel the opening on the left side with the in-breath, and relax on the out-breath. whole left side expansive. And then we'll release by walking the feet back and the arms back. And then walking the feet to the left and walking the arms over to the left and taking a hold of perhaps the right wrist with your left hand, maybe crossing the right ankle over the left. And now sending that breath deep and into the right side, expanding, opening, and softening. And on your next breath, slowly walk yourself back to center, your feet, your arms. And let's lower the arms back to the sides and let's bend the knees and separate the feet as wide as your mat. Arms can come out in a T position. And we're just going to let the knees rock from side to side, windshield wiper knees. And it might feel good to let your head move along with this movement. So just let it feel good. You can move the head in opposite directions of the knees. So we're just getting more movement into the spine, maybe into the shoulders a little bit. But we're still breathing, conscious of the breath and our movements. Good. And when you feel complete, we'll bring the feet back onto the mat. You can keep them wide. We're going to bring the arms up overhead, fingertips pointing towards the ceiling. Just tuck your chin a little bit. Feel your spine firm on the mat. Now let's bend the elbows and take a hold of opposite elbows with opposite hands. And we're going to just rotate the arms around. So inhaling left and up, and exhaling right and down. And just feel the shoulders opening, not forcing. So that's why we go slow, so we don't accidentally move through an area of denseness or tightness. And just go ahead and reverse, go the other direction. Good. And then lowering the arms back down to the mat. Bring the feet together. And let's pick up the right foot, bringing the sole of the foot towards the sky. You don't have to have the knee straight. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the thigh. Take a deep breath in, flex that right ankle, and gently draw the thigh towards the chest. Again, keeping the chin a little bit tucked so the neck is long on the floor. And then we're going to simply rotate the ankle. So now we've drawn the thigh in towards the chest to where it feels comfortable, waking up the hamstrings, and now moving our ankles. Let's rotate the other direction. And then let's point and flex. Spread the toes as you flex. Point, squeeze the toes. Not stopping the breath, still breathing, keeping relaxed. Good. And then go ahead and lower the right foot down to the mat. Let's pick up the left foot, sole of the foot up towards the sky, flex that ankle, interlacing the fingers behind the left thigh, inhaling deeply. And exhale, softening, drawing that thigh into the chest, never forcing, and it's okay to keep that knee bent. Finding that edge, keep the low back heavy on the mat. Now we can rotate the left ankle. And still being mindful of our breathing. Let's reverse, go the other direction. Creating fluid in the joint, which does not happen on its own past the age of 30. We need to move the joints. Let's point and flex. Good. And then go ahead and lower down the left foot. Bring the feet together, the knees together. Take a deep breath. And relax on the exhalation. Bring the arms next to your body with the palms down. Roll the shoulders back and underneath you just a little bit. Chin is tucked. And then we'll separate the heels and then the toes, so your feet are about hip width apart. We're going to practice bridge pose. We've done this before. We're going to come up and down, and then we're going to inch the feet away a couple of inches and come up and down again to wake up the hamstrings even more. So take a breath in and exhale. Draw the navel into the spine, pull up the pelvic floor, and lift the hips. Again, you can imagine squeezing that block and you're pressing against a belt that's also wrapped around you. Inhaling, lowering down. Walk the feet a little bit further away, a couple of inches, and exhale, navel in, pelvic floor up, lifting up the hips. Inhale, lower. Continue this on your own, walking the feet a little forward. It might be that the feet won't stay flat on the floor at some point. That's okay. You can have your heels on the mat. So it gets more and more challenging. Try to find that edge. And then begin to walk your feet back, repeating our bridge pose. You can add your Ujjayi breath to this. Keeping everything nice and slow. And when you've come back, just rest. Relax your arms, bring them out to the sides a little bit, and just let all that tension go. And then we're going to bring our arms up overhead, as we did before. And we're going to pick up the feet and keep a 90-degree angle between your thigh and your calf. And we're going to take a breath in and lengthen up the right leg. And we're going to flex the ankle. Keep your back on the mat, your tailbone in particular, to protect your low back. We're going to take a breath in. And exhale, slowly lower the right heel and stop where you need. You don't have to bring it all the way down, and keep the knee a little bent. Point the left toes down actually towards the mat. You don't have to keep that 90-degree angle. Point the toes down. Good. And then come up. And again, exhale, reaching through the heel. Be sure your low back doesn't hurt. This is really great for our core. And again, as you exhale, draw in the navel, pull up the pelvic floor to give you a little more support. One last time, if that's too many, take a break now. That's fine to just stop when you need to. And when you feel complete, lowering both feet down to the mat, release your arms to the sides. Just take a breath. And just feel that nice release, the emptiness in the mind. And when you're ready, again, let's raise the arms up overhead. Picking up the right foot, straightening that leg, lift up the left toes off the mat and point the toes down towards the mat. Flex the left ankle, keep your low back pressed into the mat. Remember, no pain in the low back. Take a deep breath in and exhale, slowly lower the left leg. Doesn't matter how far down it goes. And inhale, bring it up. And again, just going at your pace with your breath. Remember on those exhalations to draw in the navel and to pull up the pelvic floor. This will give you a lot more support for your low back, and your core. And one more time, again, if that's too many, just take a break. Coming all the way up, bending the left knee, lowering the feet to the mat, and releasing the arms down to the mat. And again, a deep breath. And feel that emptying out, that bliss, that release. And just go into that, move into that. Might feel good to tuck the knees into the chest, coming into our reverse child's pose. Maybe circle the knees. Just feel what feels right for your body right now. So we're going to come up to hands and knees. If you like to try this, you may cross the ankles, bring your hands behind your thighs, and we can rock on our back. If that doesn't feel right, that might not be right for you. Some people enjoy that, some people might not. So if you don't like that, just come onto your hands and knees. But if you enjoy it, we're going to inhale back and exhale forward. And we're going to exhale forcefully with a nice ha. So inhaling, ha, ha, ha. And then coming up, ha. And we can come onto our hands and knees. So find yourself with your fingers spread wide, the hands nice and wide, shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees and feet hip width apart. And we're going to take a nice breath in and step the right foot back. Reach through the heels around the toes, and we're going to give a nice press through the heel and come up and press, just stretching through the calf. And then bring that right knee back down and bring the left foot back and give a nice stretch in the left calf. So that should feel really good. And then bring that left knee back. So now we're going to bring the right foot back once again. We're going to cross it over the left, bring it over to the left side as far as feels comfortable, and come onto your toes. And then we're going to take a breath in, lengthen through your spine as you exhale, turn your gaze to the left over towards the right toes. And I want you to notice the intensity of the stretch as you take the breath in, stretching through the right side. And as you exhale, let it go. Notice the stillness at the top of the inhalation and the bottom of the breath. Inhaling, bringing that right foot back to hands and knees. And stepping the left foot back and bringing it across the right foot over to the right side as far as feels comfortable. Lengthening as you inhale and exhale, turning now your gaze towards your left toes. And again, just following the inhalations and exhalations. Ujjayi Durga Pranayama is helpful to be calm in this pose, to settle into this pose, and just feel. And inhaling, slowly bringing that back, bringing the knees hip width apart. We'll do a couple of cat and cows to further warm up the spine. So inhaling, letting the tail lift first, moving through the spine, drawing the heart through, lifting the gaze upwards, opening the heart, and exhaling, beginning to tuck the tail and pressing into the mat to broaden your back to create that nice round back, dropping the head and inhaling through the tail, lifting and exhaling, round Halloween cat. Press the mat away. You can add circles here, exhaling left and down. Inhaling and then exhaling, rounding. Whatever feels nice. Just let yourself be guided by the needs in your body. If you're circling, we can go the other direction now. And then coming back to neutral. Let's take another nice deep breath. And we'll come into a downward dog in just a moment. Remember, you can come into puppy pose, which is reaching the arms forward, hips in the middle of the calf, reaching in opposite directions. Or you can come into downward dog by walking the hands one hand distance forward, curl your toes under, press into the mat. Immediately feel your upper arms coming towards each other, the inner elbows spiraling forward. And then let your knees lift and press into the mat to bring your hips straight back. Arms alongside the ears. And then you can begin to straighten the legs, maybe pedaling the feet, lowering one heel and then the other. You might want to rock the hips side to side. Whatever feels nice. And then coming into a steady downward dog, if it feels right, press through the hands, reach through the arms, reach the hips back. Again, keeping the knees bent if you need to keep that long spine. And we're going to inhale, come way up onto the toes, send your gaze forward. And we're going to step the left foot forward. And we're going to turn the right heel back and down. So your right foot is on the mat, left heel would come through the right arch, intersecting if you drew a line. We're going to inhale, spiral up, press into that front foot, coming into warrior two pose. Don't forget to externally rotate this left hip so the knee is facing towards your left toe. Arms relaxed, reaching through the fingers, torso vertical, strong in your feet, pulling the feet towards each other. Lifting up the pelvic floor as you exhale, dropping your upper buttocks down, pulling the tail in, letting the heart be expansive. Breathe, inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, gazing over your left shoulder towards your left fingers. And coming into exalted warrior, we're going to lower the right hand down to the right thigh. And inhale, bring the left arm up. And you can stay right here if this feels good, or you can create that subtle back bend by coming up, 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 and over to the left. Keeping that right knee bent over the ankle, not letting it straighten. Breathe deeply. Again, keeping the tail down and in. And inhaling, coming back up to warrior two. Straightening that right knee, or that left knee, this is where you might want to have a block handy. We're going to come into triangle pose. So the right toes are still facing forward. You might want to widen your stance, that's up to you. Take a breath in and exhale, reach now to the right. Keeping the head and torso in line as best you can. Shift those hips as far left as possible. And lower the right hand maybe to your leg or to a block. And bringing the left arm up. So we want to press into that block and reach up through the right fingers. And imagine you're against a wall. Your right sits bone reaching towards your right heel. And you're bringing your right shoulder back. And your legs are strong. Your thighs are lifting. Good. Inhale, slowly come up. You can bend that left knee, come up to warrior two. Take a breath in and exhale. We're going to turn back towards the left toes into lunge and bring that left foot back, and we'll sit back in child's pose. This is an opportunity to receive all the energy that's been released from your poses, so let yourself dissolve into the body. With your forehead on the mat or a block or fists, let your attention come to your third eye. And opening your eyes, coming back up. I'm going to turn around. You can stay as you are. Coming into tabletop pose. And again, you have the choice of puppy pose or downward dog, or even coming back into child's pose. If you're coming into downward dog, walk your hands one distance forward, spread the fingers out as wide as you can. Really take a look at your hands. You want to give a lot of space between the fingers. It's going to give you more strength, more support. Curl your toes, pressing into the hands. Feel those inner elbows spiraling forward, the upper arms coming towards each other, and then lift your hips, shift back first. And get that length in your spine. Reach back through the hip creases. And then again, straightening and bending one knee, getting a feel for your dog. And then coming to, again, a still down dog, however that is for you, knees bent or straight. And then coming way up onto the toes once again, looking forward and stepping the right foot forward. Remember, you can lower that back knee and grab your ankle to pull it forward if you need to. And then we're going to turn that left heel back, and the foot is down onto the mat, the right heel intersecting the left arch if you drew a line. So find your alignment. We're going to inhale again up to warrior two. Good. Keeping that right knee over the ankle, torso facing this direction, heart is above the pubic bone. Reach in both directions, but relax the shoulders. We don't want to tense up here. We want to stay relaxed. Upper buttocks down and in, belly in. And breathe, lengthen up, pull those feet towards each other, bring the energy up, and exhale, gazing over the right shoulder, the right fingertips. Warrior two, relax your eyes. Feel the energy around you. Feel your intention to release struggle. Noticing again the breath. Is it soft and smooth or choppy? Good, and then lowering the left hand to your left thigh. Inhale the right arm straight up. Exalted warrior, staying here or coming up and over to the left. Pressing the right knee back, keeping that nice bend in the knee. Legs are strong. Deepen your breath. Inhale, coming back up to warrior two, straightening that right knee, preparing for Trikonasana. Keep the torso forward. Keep that upper buttocks down and in, belly in. Lengthen up, strengthening those thighs. Keep them lifted. And exhale, begin to reach now to the right. Head and torso is in line. When you've come as far as you can, shifting those hips as far left as possible, then lowering the right hand, again, maybe grabbing that block, bringing the left arm up. And it's okay to be here, right? Or higher. As long as we're not compromising our alignment, we don't want to round down to get there. We don't want that right side to be rounded. We want it straight. So we keep that nice alignment in the spine. Pressing into the block or your leg, wherever you are, reaching up through the left fingers. Your sits bone or your tailbone reaching towards your left heel. And smile. Imagine you're pressed against a wall. Good. Take a nice breath in. And exhale, we're going to bend that front knee and turn to face front. Bring the left hand down to the mat. The right foot back, lower onto the knees. And again, sitting back in child's pose. When we're in the second half of the pose, we're not just relaxing, we're receiving. And we're focused on the sensations to magnify those sensations. When you bring your attention there, it focuses on the sensations and they get larger. You can feel the expansiveness. Relax your shoulders over your thighs. Feel the breath in the back body. And when you feel complete and ready, please come back up to tabletop pose. Let's step the right foot forward and then the left. With the big toes touching, heels apart, knees are bent, and just hanging forward. So let the belly touch the thighs, let the head hang down. Breathing deeply. On your exhalation, release all tension through the spine, the shoulders, the head, and the neck. You can sway side to side, rock the head up and down, back and forth. But keeping the knees a little bent will ensure that your spine can come forward. A little length and space created between each vertebra. And with your hands either on blocks in front of you or the hands on the floor in front of you or hands on your shins, we're going to come up halfway. Lengthening again the spine, reaching back through the tail, out through the crown. Inhale and exhale again. Bend your knees, lower the head. Let's bring the hands to the hips, elbows in and back, shoulders away from the ears, press into the feet, lift your head and chest, slowly rise. With your eyes closed or soft, lower your arms to your sides and experience this release, this bliss, and this settling into standing. And once again, opening our eyes. We're now preparing for a balancing pose, dancing Shiva Nataraj Asana. So I'll keep the side view here so you can see me. Feet are together in balancing poses. It's important to be grounded in the feet, so take a look at your toes, lift them up, spread them out as wide as you can. You'll feel the arches of your feet lift. Keep that arch lifted as you lower the toes down to the mat. Press into all four corners of the feet. A little bit more into your heels and feel the thighs lift up towards your buttocks, the upper buttocks coming down and in. The kneecaps and fronts of the thighs lift, the tail coming towards the pubic bone and the pubic bone coming towards the tailbone, neutralizing the pelvis. Grounded from the hips to the feet, lengthen through the waist. Let your ribs lift off the pelvis. Roll the shoulders slightly back and down, chin tucked. A lot of instructions. And now feel your feet grounded, your fingers reaching down as the upper body lengthens up. Continually checking our feet that they're grounded in all four corners. Take a deep breath in. We're going to shift our weight into the left foot, the left side. And we're going to turn the right hand out so the thumb is pointing back as if you're hitchhiking. So the fingers are down, but the thumb is back. We're going to bend the right knee, bring the toes of the right foot back so the knees are touching, they stay touching. This may be where you stay today if it's available. Bend that knee a little bit more and take a hold of the inside of the foot or a pant leg or your ankle, whatever you can reach. Keep the knees together, the upper buttocks are down and in, and we're going to press that foot into the hand. This is again a nice quad stretch. If it's more stable, feel more stable, bring your left hand to your heart, or you might want to extend the left arm straight up. And breathe, focusing on one point. Soften your eyes, keep the breaths deep and smooth. Keep the mind occupied on this pose, the sensations, the feeling in your body. Take one more breath. And exhale, release that right foot, lower your left arm, and just let your eyes close or stay softly open. And just let go into the feelings, the sensations here. And again, notice that pause at the top of the breath and the bottom of the breath. And just be in that stillness. And letting your eyes open Again, check your feet. Lift the toes, spread them out. Root down the feet. Find your mountain pose once again, standing tall. Try to have that memory in your body of proper alignment. Turning the left hand out, fingers are down, the thumb is pointing back. We're going to shift our weight into the right foot this time, mountain pose on the right side body. And then bending the left knee, bringing the toes back, knees together. Find your balance here, gaze at one point, find your breath. And if it's available, bend that knee a little bit more, maybe taking a hold of the foot or whatever you can. Keep the knees together, press that foot into the hand, maybe bring the right hand to the heart for stability, wherever it feels right, maybe bringing it up. Keep that gaze steady. Keep the low back down and in as you press that foot into your hand. Reach up through the right fingers. Deep breaths in and out. One more. And exhale, release the left foot, the right arm. And again, let your eyes just soften. Let all your attention flow into the third eye between the brows. Soften your eyes and jaw, shoulders, arms. And only when you feel ready, let your eyes open once again. Preparing for pyramid pose. So again, we're going to stand in the middle of the mat is fine, but hip width apart. Hands on the hips, elbows in and back, mountain pose. Go ahead, pressing into the feet, extending up through the spine. Feel that in your body. We're going to shift our weight into the left foot and take a step back with the right foot. So both feet can be on the mat. So maybe 2.5 to 3 feet. So we don't want to let the right hip turn back. We want to keep it forward. If you need, you can turn the right toes out to the right for balance, but turn that right hip in so the hips are facing forward and the feet are hip width apart. So find that nice balance there. Find the feet firmly rooted down. Again, same as mountain pose. Upper buttocks are down and in, and we lengthen up. So this is a forward fold. So you might want to have your blocks ready. So again, taking that nice breath in and exhaling, beginning to hinge forward at the hip creases. Keep that pressure firm in your front foot and your back heel. As soon as you need to, please go ahead and bend that left knee if that's what's needed for your body. But keep the spine long. We're not compromising the spine and rounding. We're keeping lifted. The elbows pull in and back to keep the heart expansive. It doesn't matter how far you come down. Good. And then you can bring your hands to the block, keeping the torso parallel to the floor for now. Deep breaths. You can press your hands into the blocks to reach your heart forward. Keep the right hip square. If it wants to come back, notice that. Lifting the tail upwards. On your next exhalation, your body may soften and come down a little further. It may not. You have different heights on the blocks. You might want to lower it a little bit. And you can lower it to the lowest height if that feels right, or keep it up high. No struggles. Please don't make it hard for you. This is where we want to pay attention to what's happening mentally. We don't want the mind doing the pose. We want our bodies to do the pose. Breathe deeply. And take another deep breath in. Exhale, step forward with the right foot and come into our forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, again, forward fold. Hands on the hips, elbows in and back, press down, slowly rise. Lower your arms, receive, let go. Allow the natural breath to flow. And opening your eyes when you're ready, keeping your feet hip width apart, pressing down, extending up, hands on the hips once again, inhaling deeply and exhaling, this time shifting, taking a step back with the left foot, just 2.5, 3 feet. Turning the left toes out if you need to, squaring the hips, upper buttocks are down and in. And feel your pose as you press into the feet and lengthen here. Keep the heart expanded. One more breath in. And exhale, begin to slowly hinge forward, keeping that alignment in your spine. Bend the right knee if you need to. And again, coming down onto the blocks when you're ready. They may come lower as you soften in the pose, but at first just be where you land. Lengthen from tail through crown. You want to stay nice and long. On that exhalation, you might soften down a little bit more. Maybe you don't. Again, there's nowhere to go. Keep the left hip pulling forward. Press into that front foot, that left heel, and focus on lengthening in the spine as you feel your breath. Ujjayi Dirgha Pranayama. And perhaps a soft smile. Good. Taking another breath in. And exhaling, stepping the left foot forward. Once again in our forward fold. Let it go. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, release down. Hands on the hips, bend the knees, elbows back and in, inhaling all the way up. And exhale, soft eyes, receptive, heart unconditionally open, breath flowing smoothly and easily. And opening your eyes, bring the hands together at the heart center. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, folding forward, bending your knees, hands down onto the mat, thumbs next to little toes, drop your head down. Inhale, let your tail lift. Exhale, pull in the navel, lift up the pelvic floor, and reach the crown of the head straight down. Next inhalation, step back with the right foot. And then the left foot coming into plank pose. Body is straight. Spread the fingers. Press the floor away from you to broaden your back. Spiral the inner thighs up towards the sky. The front thighs pressing to the back thighs. Your tail towards your heels. And reaching back through the heels and forward through the crown. Breathe deeply. And exhale, lower down onto the knees. And we're going to come all the way down onto the belly. Bring your arms to your sides, turn your head to one side, and just settle into the floor. Let your shoulders be heavy, your arms, soft eyes and jaw. Hips, legs. And then preparing for full locust pose. We're going to bring the palms down next to the body. Bring the feet together, touching. Chin on the mat. And when we inhale, we're going to lift everything up. Taking the breath in first, exhaling, melting the pelvic floor firmly into the mat. And then inhaling, raising up the head, the chest, the arms, the feet. Reach back through the arms. Deep breath. Two more full breaths. If that's too many, make it one. It's your practice, your body. One more breath if it's available. And exhale, lower down. Turn your head to the opposite side. And placing our hands on the mat next to the chest, press yourself up. And exhale back into either child's pose or downward dog. Find a place where you can rest. Take that next breath, let it bring you slowly back up, please, to tabletop. And then we'll come to a seated position, extending our legs out front. We'll bring the flesh out from the buttocks so we're nice and firm, preparing for a knee down twist. So we're going to bend the right knee. This may be where it stays. Maybe you can bring it across to the outside of the left knee if there's no struggle. Placing the left hand on the right knee or wrapping the arm around, whatever feels right. Your right fingertips outside your right hip, close to your low back. Flex that left ankle, pull that heel into your hip. Press into the right fingertips to get tall. Draw that thigh into the chest. Inhale deeply and lengthen up all the way through the spine. Keep the shoulders wide and relaxed. And as you exhale, slowly begin to twist to the right. Again, noticing the pause at the top of the breath and at the bottom. Keep both sits bones grounded. Keep the chest wide. Shoulders are reaching in opposite directions. Gazing over the right shoulder. Deep breath, slowly unwind, coming back to center. Releasing the right leg and then crossing the left leg over or keeping it on the inside. Right hand on the left knee, left fingers behind your left hip. Flexing the right ankle, pull that heel into the hip. Both sits bones are nice and firm. Inhale, draw the thigh into the chest. Press your left fingers on the mat, lengthen. And exhale again, gently twisting now left. Focus on keeping wide the collarbones. Sending the gaze left. Lifting the heart, pulling the low back in, not letting it collapse. Deep inhalations and exhalations are long. Inhale, slowly come back. And exhale, release. Relax your legs. Let's bring the hands behind the hips and bend the knees, bringing the feet onto the mat. So keep the knees fairly far away, your feet fairly far away. We're going to cross the right ankle onto the left knee. Bring it further forward if you need to. And then we're just going to press into the hands to lift the heart, roll the shoulders back and down, and then inch that foot as close as you can without coming into pain, of course. Press down, lift the heart. Nice quad stretch. It's great for our hips. This is pigeon pose in a seated position. You can rock side to side if it feels good to loosen up. And if you're softening on your exhalations a little more, you can inch that foot closer, but not necessary. And let's inhale and release that right foot. Maybe roll the wrists if you need to. A little tension created in the wrists, perhaps. And preparing for the other side. Crossing the left ankle over the right, keeping that ankle flexed. Press into the hands to first roll the shoulders back and lift the heart. And then finding your edge by inching that right foot a little closer to you. And again, maybe shifting a little bit. Movement is always good. But not collapsing in the low back. We want to pull the low back in, lifting the heart. And if that means bringing that foot further away, that's fine. Steady breath creates a very steady mind. And noticing the pauses, that silence. And then when you're ready, lowering the left foot to the mat. Scooting a little forward because we're coming down onto our backs now. So find yourself on your back. Take a couple of breaths to settle into the floor. Let's bring the arms out in a T position. You can have the palms down for more support. Bring the feet together. So we're going to do a little twist. We're going to kind of like windshield wipers. So for some of us, this is good, but for others, it might not be comfortable. So you can widen your feet like we did before if that doesn't feel right. Let's take a breath in, keeping the knees and feet together. We're going to shift them over to the right. Inhale, come up, pay attention to your low back, and exhale them over to the left. So continue this with your breath, rocking side to side. And the next time you come over to the left, just hold there, and you might need to shimmy your hips over to the right a little bit so your hips can be stacked. And if you need support, you can take a block and place that underneath your left thigh or a knee so it can rest comfortably there, keeping the shoulders on the mat. And on your next breath, slowly come up. Bring your hips back to center and exhale the feet and knees over to the right. And again, maybe bumping the hips over to the left a little bit so you can stack the hips. And again, letting go into this twist. Breath is deep, smooth, very steady. Softening your face. Relax your shoulders, arms. And inhaling all the way back up. Both feet on the mat, shifting your hips back to center. And it might feel good to tuck your knees into your chest, tuck your chin, make circles or widening the knees out and in. And then take a moment to notice how you feel. Take a pause, stretch if you need to, as we move directly into Shavasana. So as soon as you feel ready, prepare yourself for Shavasana. Extend your legs long. Reach your arms out to the sides. Maybe lift your chest. I'd like to bring the shoulders underneath so my chest can be nice and open. Let the feet just fall out to the sides. Keep your chin a little bit tucked, so maybe lift your head, tuck your chin and lower back down. So we get a nice full length in the spine on the floor. Scan for any resistance or tension and make adjustments you need. So find a position where your body will not disturb you and you can let go more deeply into yourself, into the stillness. into your internal refuge. Witness the breath becoming more and more shallow, softer, and allow the mind to simply melt and merge right into breath. And as your body relaxes here, breathing, just notice the pause between the breaths. The emptiness, the expansiveness. Your breath has become more soft and shallow. It will now take a slightly deeper breath. Allow the body to begin to awaken by adding some movement, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists, and any stretch that would feel good, as if you're waking up from a nap. And then bending one knee, then the other, bringing the knees into the chest. And then slowly coming onto one side. Resting your head on your arm. And just feel yourself curling into your center. And on your next in-breath, slowly rising back up to a seated position. Just keeping your eyes closed, remaining inward. And just checking in with yourself. And remembering throughout your day to take those pauses. Notice the pause between our breaths, between our words, and between the thoughts. Remembering this moment. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. Lifting the chest up towards the fingers, staying broad. And let's chant Om together. Let's take a deep breath. Exhaling. And a deep breath again. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace. Peace to you and to all beings. And then gradually opening our eyes. Jai Bhagwan.